welcome to ScreenHour with me, Kieran,
And me, Mikey.
where we will discuss the latest releases of films, series, and games regarding our own impressions and experiences. We will also warn you before we deep dive into any spoilers.
In this episode, we're going to talk about Avatar, The Way of Water. First of foremost, I saw it the very first week of January, and my cinema, for what it's worth, I was on bank holiday Monday, so like the 2nd of January, and it was still packed. And at this point, it had been out since the 16th December. And I'm telling you now, the reason why it's still packed is because it's great.
Well, I went to go see it before Christmas. I think I saw it on like the 18th, the 19th, thereabouts. And funnily enough, there was me and like 10 other people in the cinema at this time. So I think most people obviously were, I don't know, saving up for still buying their presents before Christmas or still at work and what have you. So people haven't really shot into the cinemas. But it was, I mean, you could just look at its trajectory in the box office and how in like 3 weeks it's become the second highest grossing film of 2022. Right, and it was very close to overtaking Top Gun, which is I think to be fair, I'm actually surprised because I thought like Top Gun had like such a great run, and then Avatar just came out of fucking nowhere and just were like, oh, you think it wasn't good? Look at mine.
Yeah, I'm so glad that in a lot of ways it didn't beat.
Yeah, I'm glad in a lot of ways it didn't beat it. So, I mentioned before that I love seeing real stunts and I hate CG. This is, I don't know, this really fucked my mind because the CG in this is actually incredible. And like I said to Mikey, as soon as I came out of the cinema, I was like, Mikey was like, is it worth going to see? And I said, in a simple phrase, it's an orgasm for your eyes. Like I went to go see it in 3D IMAX. And I was looking around every single corner of that screen, just looking at every bit of like vegetation and yeah, like I just thought the CGI in general was the best CGI I have ever seen in my entire life in anything. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And don't get me wrong, right? I still think stunts and doing things for real is, you know, my favourite bit about cinema. But what James Cameron and his team did with this, I thought was incredible. I thought they really set a new benchmark, especially since, you know, the 2009 one. The technology jump from 2009 to now, granted, you know, a lot in technology has advanced since then, but from film to film, it's a massive like improvement. It's like an absolutely unbelievable improvement in technology. Insane.
I 100% agree with you. It is stunning. And it's the only film for a long time, to the point where I used to have something like 12 pairs of 3D glasses when I was like back in the day. I couldn't find any just because there hasn't been a good 3D film for years. And Avatar, the original one, was that like pioneered good 3D, and so did this one. It's the only film for like ages I saw in 3D because 3D just hasn't been a thing, and this still capitalizes on it.
Yeah,
it works well.
To be fair, the thing is, I don't see there being anything interesting to watch in 3D again until Avatar 3.
I think there could be like,
oh yeah, definitely. There's like a potential for something out there, but the odds of something actually releasing that's gonna give you that benefit of actually seeing it in 3D, right? I can't see it because we've had loads of things come out since, and nothing I thought was like, oh, that was worthwhile.
If they'd done it well, but like, you know, to be fair, like Endgame's great, a lot of senses, but I don't know.
And Endgame, I want to piss off a lot of people with this statement, but Endgame's CGI was horrible. But like, what's his name? Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, right? In his Hulk Smasher suit or whatever. Wait, that wasn't Endgame, was it? That was Infinity War. He was in that suit. But yeah, the CGI and stuff on that was horrible. That was rough. right? And there's not many instances where I'm like, oh yeah, I wish I saw this in 3D. I didn't feel like that. Whereas like watching Avatar: The Way of Water in IMAX in 3D, not once did I think, oh, wasting my money here. I 100% thought this was an absolute worthwhile investment, without shadow of a doubt.
I don't think the CG in like Infinity War was that bad, but I think this is a lot better. But I also expected that because I remember OG Avatar being amazing in its day anyway.
Well, here's an interesting statement that will shock you. I didn't watch the original Avatar until a month ago.
You hadn't watched it before?
No, I never went to see it in cinema or nothing. I was a bit anti it at the time because it was so big and like everyone was.
Well, to like thought about everything, even if it is good, you're like, oh no, I stop with that. I'm like, you still haven't watched fucking Game of Thrones, to be fair. I don't know. It is great though, even though the original, and this is good props to the new one, and this is very like I won't even get into the sport like the narrative itself really, but like light spoilers for the original. The original's plot is very Romeo and Juliet. It's very like The Last Samurai. Like an outsider gets in with indigenous people, falls in love with their like princess or whatever. And I feel like the plot's been done a million times before.
Yeah, you mean the guy turns on his entire race for some poontang?
Well, to a degree, yeah. But also, like, it's been done many times before where I was like, it was literally Pocahontas with Smurfs, tall Smurfs, in the original Avatar.
Yeah.
This one there's a lot more to it. There's a lot going on. There's more moving pieces with the plot.
I will agree. It's definitely like the original plot. It was bad. It was bad. It's not like the worst thing ever, but when you consider the technology and all of that, the story was its biggest downfall. And I think that's still the same case in the new one, but it's definitely a better story, but it's not a great story. I still think the narrative was a bit shit.
I don't think the narrative's a bit shit. I think the narrative's good, to be fair. I just don't think it's like...
No, I found it all way too predictable. Like, even like one of the big spoiler moments that happens, I was like, yeah, of course that was going to happen.
You say that about everything there.
Yeah, I know I say that. I'm not
trying to be too clever about everything. You've been the hipster you are.
I'm not being like cynical or anything of like, I don't know, maybe I've just watched way too many films.
We're getting some more of that into spoilers, but at the same time, as you say, it's not a mega hot take, as Kieran's just said himself as well. It is beautiful. The landscapes are beautiful. Like they're like, spoilers, The Way of Water. The water's beautiful, the design of that. The creatures are a big part of it, and how they're designed. Just every design element's good. But also, like you said about like there's not really many, like it's not really like a stunt focused thing, but they had all this setup where I was like looking into it, and the reason they had to like do their own like underwater stuff, like learn to hold their breath and stuff, is because obviously the CGI did bit to a degree, but if they had snorkel gear on, it would mess with the motion tracking dots for the CGI.
Yeah, so yeah, they've got this huge like I don't know how many gallons or liters or whatever, but they've got this huge ass tank, that they put it pretty much submerged all the actors in, and it was like a mocap tank. Basically, because one of the big issues with the other one is there was a bit where Jake Sully is as his avatar and he's in the water and he's like his physics, everything are completely off of how he's like swimming through the water. And Cameron picked up on this and was like aware of the issue that he had in the original, and because he knew this one was predominantly underwater, he wanted to fix that issue. So that's why the team went through sort of vigorous training and stuff and learning how to hold the breath under the water and all that. So it's not without its stunts. That's for damn sure, right? The actors still put a lot on their line, to bring these performances to light. I'm just not keen personally on like creating something out of nothing and using complete CGI. I like there to still be some realism, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like removing things from cinema and the physical world and just everything becomes digital. Right, and then, and where does that end?
Yeah, you don't want to, like, I don't know. It's taking a lot of the art out of it if you do too much with that. But I feel like this.
I mean, you've got to be very skilled to do it right. Like, I don't want to, shit on people that do that as a job, like that are VFX artists and stuff like that. They are incredible at what they do, right? But I just, for my personal preferable taste, I like them to be the cherry on top, not the whole cake.
No, I understand that metaphor, yeah. But as we say, I understand its need and like how they use it, and it is great. And this in particular is great for that. But what I will say is, Kieran says it's predictable, but at the same time, you got to think as a blockbuster, it does its job in the sense that the characters that are all introduced have their own little art, or are interested enough that like you at least care about them. So like if someone's hateable, it's because like they're written that way too, but it's not because like they're annoying or cringy or like particularly forgettable. All the characters, they're like traits might be a little too defined, so they're quite predictable, but at least they've got traits.
Yeah, it's as you say, but if you want to put it in terms of a blockbuster, this sure as hell will entertain you. It's just a very black and white. There's no like grey area, is there? It's just black and white. You know who the good guys are. You know who the bad guys are. There's no double crossing, backstabbing, or nothing like that. It's just, it is what it is. And if you enjoyed the original Avatar, right, you will 100%, 120% enjoy this one. Right? This is like an absolute upgrade in every way, shape, and form. It's just, narratively, it could be better. It could be better. Like the narrative and the writing could be better. That's my only gripe. It's like it's that whole, you were this close to greatness. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I know what you mean, but I think, like you say, if you like the original, you're gonna think this one's on steroids. Like, it's amazing. As blockbuster films go, it's really good in that sense. Another big one which is worth pointing out, and like we tend to use this term quite a bit, me in particular, but is the pacing. I don't want to sound pretentious. The pacing is great. And the reason why I got referred to like a film's pacing being good or bad, because at the end of the day, a film could be like good, but what can stop it and make it great, make or break it, is if there's boring bits in between. And there's no boring bits in this film.
Not everything does seem to have its place for sure. And like, it's, 3 hours or something odd long or something near there, right? It does not feel like that whatsoever. Like you said, the pacing is done very well. You're along from the ride and you're entertained, with every frame.
Exactly. To the point where there's so much action. It's 2 hours, 42 minutes. It didn't feel like that at all. Tell lie, that was the original. The new one is 3 hours, 12 minutes long.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 hours.
Honestly, the only complaint I have in that regard is one of my bum cheeks got a bit sore, and I just moved on to the other one, put more weight on, but also a lot of time I was leaning forward because there was some really intense bits. So honestly, I can't recommend it enough as just a movie going experience as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Unless you're a millionaire or I don't know, unless you've got a mad home setup, do not wait for this to come to Disney Plus or whatever, because this is the type of thing you need to go to the cinema to see.
Yeah, it's 100% a cinema film without a shadow of a doubt. As I say, I watched it in IMAX and in 3D, and I do not regret that choice whatsoever.
It's fun. It's a lot in a good way, as in, like, as Kieran said, it's orgasm for your eyes. It's beautiful. It's quite emotional to a degree. There's a lot going on. There's some quite good standout performances, but yeah, honestly, it's definitely worth recommending. And I think the action and the combat is great, between it being blended with the Pandora's planet and the military tech, like, I don't know, the tanks and the missiles and, the boats. It's like a cool blend of action in that respect.
Yeah.
If you give it in like a plane like a system, it agrees, just go ahead, go see it, go see it now.
Literally just spend all your money and just go see it now. Before we get into the juicy spoilers, we'd like to take a moment to thank you for listening to us. And to help further our aspirations, we would forever appreciate it were you to like, subscribe and follow us on your preferred platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Anchor, and Instagram with our handle, The ScreenHour. And if you'd like to participate in an episode, leave your thoughts on what you'd like to see us cover next. Now, time for those spoilers. You have been warned.
The reason I like the villain is because he's as cocky, charming as he was in the first one, but he's just got a bit more, I don't know, he's got a better perspective on him because he knows he's died because of his fuck-ups of the first one. And he's just, don't get me wrong, he's very prominently the bad guy, Stephen Lang's character, but he's also trying to learn and adapt more. He's not trying to go like full Jake Sully, obviously, because he's like, I'm the Marine, I'm a corpsman. But he's like, we've got to go full native, and he starts riding the thing. Even that bit I really like with Spider, and he says, how did Jake Sully do it? He says, how do you think Jake Sully done it the hard way? Yeah. I also like how he's not as harsh in this one. He's not outright killing him. That bit where towards the end, as we say, 3-hour film, in the last act to a degree, where they're looking for Jake and he's burning their homes and stuff, where he could have just shot a load of the Pandorians. Like, what are they called? The Navi?
It's the Navi, is what they call them, yeah.
Yeah. I just think he's really cool in it. What I would say is Jake the parents take more of a backseat, don't they?
Yeah, it is more focused on the kids. I mean, just before we jump onto that, the Stephen Lang's character, I really didn't like his character in the first one. Not because he's the bad guy and you meant to dislike him. I just disliked his character in general because it was all that hoorah, tough American, brain-dead Marine that just comes across an Aboriginal race and decides, we're going to blast them, right? We're just going to throw shit and bombs and everything at them and blast them. And it's like, I really hated it, for that particular brain-dead play. And as you say, in this one, he's still not 100% better, but he's definitely better of how he, wants to become, get his own avatars and do what they do. And, coming from the, behind enemy lines, as it were. So I do think he's done a lot better in this one, but I still didn't think it was great. But then on with the kids, the kids are the focus of the film without a shadow of a doubt. It's not so much about Sam Worthington or Zoe Saldana. It's more about the kids and even the resurrection of
Sigourney Weaver.
I was going to say Sigourney Weaver, and I was like, wait, is it Julianne Moore? And I was like, no, it's not Julianne Moore. I was like, I couldn't remember.
Do you know, it wasn't until after I was like, this sounds really stupid, but it's quite funny. It wasn't until after I finished watching it, I realised this kid actress is doing a really good Sigourney Weaver impression. And then I was like, because, it's just a younger version of her character. I remember, Avatar got knocked up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, spoilers, after doing research I was like, it is Sigourney Weaver, but it sounds quite like her.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought it was good the way that they did that to bring Sigourney Weaver back, but into her child, as it were. And arguably, she's probably one of the best characters in it.
She's one of the best. She's one of the best characters in it, and also I honestly think she's probably going to be the main player in the future ones because she's connected to the ecosystem.
Yeah, you can see where the story's going with that.
Wouldn't even surprise me to bring her, again, big spoilers, but we're here, their older brother back in the future films or something. I don't know.
No, I don't see that happening necessarily, because otherwise they would have brought back Sigourney Weaver's avatar. But then, I don't know, maybe she's actually learned the skill of how she controls that and manipulates the Mother Earth, as it were. But yeah, talking about that son now, the one that dies, I thought that was so wasted. I thought it was so predictable because it was all about the other son, the entire film, right? We hardly see that other, the older brother. I think it was I don't know, an hour or so into the film where we haven't seen that brother that much. It's all about the younger brother being reckless. I was like, I bet the old one dies. I could so see it happening. And when they kill him, it's so fucking stupid. I was really oh, come on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I generally had watery eyes. It was emotional. But I was just really why? It was so like unnecessary. But what I did then like was how Zoe Saldana just became absolute force to be reckoned with. She became so bloodthirsty, and I wish she became more bloodthirsty because I was so there for it.
But I quite like that bit in particular when Spider sees her, and this is before he even gets grabbed by her.
Yeah,
it's like, fucking hell, she's going primal. Like, she's, she's grieving, and she's also got, like, this, like, beastie nature about her anyway. And she's just going absolutely mental. And I really like that. And as you say, it gives her character an opportunity to be like that.
Yeah. I mean, Zoe Saldana herself is a brilliant actress, right? I feel like she deserves more than she's been given.
Yeah, I know that, but
I mean, she's also been in the highest grossing films ever.
Yeah, both like this and Endgame or whatever, like between this and Avengers. And also she's like in Star Trek, isn't she?
Yeah, she's right. But Star Trek's not as high grossing, but yeah. But I know, I feel like she needs more leading lady stuff.
Yeah, she does in general, I suppose. About the older son, I can see where you're coming from, but one of the kids had to die, and it was going to be him.
Well, that's the thing. They're predictable. One of the kids had to die, and he knew it was going to be him because they can't kill off the youngest one, right? They can't kill off that son that's been the most rebellious one because he's the one that we've been on this entire journey with. And you can't kill off the one that's basically in contact with Mother Earth because that's Sigourney Weaver's character. So it was only ever going to be the other one. That was my point. It was so predictable, but it's like neither one had to die. Nobody had to die. So it felt wasted, but I know it depends how it has a knock-on effect in the next film of how that really sort of...
What I'm saying is, like, because they are so good in general, like, when that's, like, for what it's worth, I don't want to speak for Karen too much. My, like, gripes for this is for the sake of me finding a gripe, but, like, I'm just, like, critical of films because I love them, like, but as a general film, it is gold. But because of that, they've, like, and it is golden, like, it is really good. They know they've got more in the can to the point where they filmed 2 and 3 together. That's why it took so long.
Because James Cameron didn't want Spider's actor growing up too quickly. That's why he had to do loads of filming, like filming at the same time, because basically, obviously he's a lad and he's growing up a lot quicker. And I remember him saying I saw somebody in an interview of him saying that they had to pause during COVID, but he had to beg New Zealand to let them film because they're basically saying that the actor that plays Spider was growing up too quickly. It was going to ruin continuity.
As you say, I think if you think that like the character's not given enough room to grow or they need more stuff, I feel like they're just, they know they've got another one coming. Well, he says things. I always say that. He says, James Cameron, I remember him saying, like, I don't think he tweeted it or it was in an interview or whatever, but I remember him saying a paraphrasing along the lines of, it's got to be one of the biggest films of all time just for him to, like,
make profit
and break even and for the third one to run.
Yeah, I think he needs the film to make at minimum the 2 billion in it to then start becoming profitable.
Yeah, it's got to be, as you say, it's got to be one of the biggest films of all time. Considering, I don't know, like in their world, it's got to have been, I don't know, I think it's something like at least 10 years, isn't it? Because like the teenage ones, like, I don't know, 15. So yeah, they've got 15 years. Jake Sully's changed a lot, and so Saldana's character, I enjoyed that. I think they played that well as a family unit, as mother and father.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could definitely feel the chemistry was stronger. Not that the chemistry was weak necessarily, to be fair. I mean, there are some films where the actors have just got like zero chemistry. I'm looking at you, Daniel Craig, and Lea Seydoux. Worst chemistry I've ever seen ever. But there are, people that don't have that chemistry, but they do have that good chemistry. But you could definitely see they seemed more bonded in this film. And I think part of that aspect as well is obviously they've done a film already, but then doing all the training and stuff and all the underwater, I feel like the cast definitely gelled a lot better.
Oh yeah, without shadow.
You get put through paces and shit like that. You're gonna become closer with those people in that vicinity.
Apparently, it was like the Navy SEAL like diving training. underwater training. It was like a year.
Oh, yeah, I can believe it. I believe it, to be fair.
You can believe it because they took so long, making it, and it needed to be good. So that's why, as you say, you can believe it was a year. One, real gripey, nitpicky thing I will say is considering how beautiful the film is and how enjoyable it is and the action, how it is. One little thing is the sound design, in the sense the score. I don't know how you feel. I know you're more nerdy in scores, but you can argue this is a good thing, but it just wasn't noticeable for me. Maybe it's a good thing because it just blended straight in with the film, or I don't know. I didn't think to myself at any point, this sounds great. I'm really enjoying the score, the music.
I did hear the score quite a few times, to be fair, because I actively tried to listen, what was the score in that particular moment, sort of thing. And I did enjoy the part of the scores, but there was a particular tune, and I tried to find it in the soundtrack afterwards. There was a bit where something intense would happen, and there was this do-do-do, do-do-do sort of noise, and it reminds me of Zorro, Antonio Banderas' Zorro, right, where he goes to the mine out in the desert and frees all the slaves from mining all the ores, right? It was this do-do-do, sort of almost Western, but not quite Western, and that sort of noise of. It was just the exact same melody, and it hit the perfect note for it, that I was like, oh wait, it feels like I'm watching Zorro. So that's not the question you're asking, but I did notice the score for sure.
I don't know. I didn't but again, but then the sound design, I thought the sound design was really good, especially with the IMAX cinema experience. The sound design was really good, the hearing of the animals and
just the a cuckoo or something in the forests. Obviously, there would be cuckoos in Pandora, but those sort of noises and things that you pick up on. It was really, it really built the world around you. I thought it was incredible. They did a really good job of bringing Pandora to life without a shadow of a doubt. It was insane. I know I didn't notice it so much in this one, but I know in the 2009 Avatar, the one thing I did pick up on was they used loads of dinosaur sounds for the animal sounds. And I don't know if anyone noticed this, because I haven't heard anyone pick up on it, right? But there's, the sort of, let's call it a saber-toothed tiger sort of thing, right? Yeah, that sounded like a T-Rex, right? It would literally sounded like a T-Rex. And then there was something else that sounded like raptors. And I was literally there's nobody picked up on this. It's literally the same audio. It's he watched Jurassic Park, and he went sample audio, and then went into Avatar's editing suite and went copy paste, right? Match it up so it all looks like it matches with the animal opening its jaws, and there we go, it's done. It was, I know, I just felt like a carbon copy to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you mean, but I don't think it's to its detriment.
Well, I'm on about the first one, as I'm saying, in Way of the Water, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think you notice it, but I don't know. I feel even though Jurassic Park is iconic, and I don't hear, maybe because I'm not into dinosaurs, but I don't hear dinosaur effects enough for me to pick up on it. What do you think of the actual climax in the end?
Oh, shit, you're going to have to remind me what climax bit.
Well, just the general exchange of Spider. So,
when Spider... So Spider saves his dad, but basically says, I don't want anything to do with you. That was interesting.
There's a lot of the kids being in peril in it, but yeah, that's also part of his charm. I quite enjoyed that. Because the kids aren't annoying, they're quite likeable, for what it's worth.
The bratty one is a little irritating. You're just listen to your parents. Not being a...
He's also a young kid, and a few kids are like that, and
there's the thing, when you were a kid, you were always cheering on the kid, yeah, I'm a grown-up now at 14, I can do what I want, right? But now, being our age, and we see kids acting like that, you're like, oh, shut up, you little brat.
Yeah, exactly. I can agree with that. The whole spider thing, I can see personal or whatever, but my parents used to foster, and one of the things you learn through foster kids is even if your biological parents put you for the ring at a really bad time, they just will stand by and swear by that biological parent. They will do whatever.
Yeah,
because they are their own flesh and blood, and I presume that's the way the spider characters just looked at Stephen Lang, even though I suppose if you want to get into technicalities, it's not his flesh and blood because he's an Ardy.
True, yeah, because he's dead.
Honestly, it's just a fun film as well. Like, as you say, we're getting overly critical, but
we're getting critical on like the most minor things.
The most minor things, yeah, and exactly. You know, all the other great things, the action, how beautiful it is. It's fun. It's got a world which is interesting. So the whole, we haven't really touched on the whales, but the whole whale scenes, I think, part of me thinks...
Yeah, oh, you can't call them whales. Apparently James Cameron says they're not whales.
Cheats off, they're not fucking whales, apparently James Cameron said. But what else am I going to call them? I can't remember. Whale scenes are good. I did originally think, should we have had less of them, more of the family being together at the start? So because obviously the whole thing is them seeking refuge, so they can be a family in the water tribe. And partly it's like, do we need a bit more of the family together so you know what they want and you know what they're like as a unit? But then the other part of me thinks like, no, the whole whale thing's quite cute. It's quite different. Like, it's exploring the world.
Yeah.
And also, how much patient is that? Like, you're not seeing them, you know, you see their family dynamics as the film go on, so you don't really need that too much. And it's just a world you want to explore more of, to the point that, you know, the metaphor's quite blunt of us taking over indigenous people, like, into the point where, you know, it's just as much in the first one, but with the old Americans and Vietnamese metaphor, and, you know, Afghanistan and oil, maybe, I don't know, a bit controversial, but it's a world you want to delve into, you want to know more. And the whole whale thing, the reason they're farming them is because there's this, like, gland and chemical which makes humans live younger and look younger. Yeah, and can you imagine that would happen?
Yeah.
The world's fantastical and beautiful and mad. It's like a tropical jungle, the entire thing. You know, it's a beautiful city, but there's like crazy creatures in. But that's true. You can see that happening. If you think I'd probably kill a bloody. If he says to me, there's a worm outside. You eat the worm and you're gonna get you'll be able to squat your body weight by 100. I'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. And that's just a worm, like. If I had to kill a whale, maybe I would. I don't know.
That's an interesting trait. In fact, that's actually another thing. Actually, it's reminded me when they go off to the water people, and they're like, "Oh, we want to seek refuge, right?" And they seek refuge, and then it's not Kitty, but her name sounds like Kitty, but Sigourney Weaver's character,
Kiri, I think it's
Kiri, yeah, that's it. She basically starts having seizures. Right, and then they fly in that jet to go and help her, right? And they're like, "Oh look, there's a jet there. Maybe that's where Jake Sully is." It's like, "Oh come on, right? Really?"
Yeah, she's the whole reason they all get blackload, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to me, that was just lazy writing, but humans do make stupid decisions like that. So
I also thought what they was going to get found out by the reckless kid, but just being reckless.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to travel too far outside the water or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I thought, really.
But yeah, let's say all that being said, I mean, I think probably going to get our top rating of go and see it, like, as soon as you can, in the cinemas before it's gone, because it is 100% a cinema experience. It probably won't hit as hard as it does watching it at home. You need to watch it in the cinema just to really get what James Cameron's created.
100% agree. It's an experience, a cinema-going experience. And it's a great experience at that. But a quick little suggestion before we leave and moment of the week. I've got loads of random stuff I watched over the Christmas break. Well, one of them, because it's so weird and it's quite a popular thing, to the point where they made 3 of them last year, and this is one of the 3 I watched, was the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio film I watched on Netflix. And the moment I particularly really liked in that, and I like the whole thing, but the moment I like is when he sounds quite sadistic because he's quite upsetting, is the way Pinocchio becomes a boy. Do you know how Pinocchio wants to be a real boy and Geppetto just makes a puppet? Well, in there, Geppetto's real son dies by a World War I bomb, and the first start of the film, the first 10 minutes of the film, is Geppetto crying at his son's grave, and because he's in it when he's grief-stricken, he makes the puppet and the spirit of the woods make, Pinocchio come alive. And it's just, I don't know, that moment in particular, I thought it's quite creepy and weird, and David Bradley voices Geppetto throughout the film, and he really sells it with his acting. How upset he is. I don't know. I'd really give it a recommend, because it's as weird as it sounds. Even though it's Pinocchio, it's probably not for kids. It's really not. Probably for teenagers, maybe. But I wouldn't suggest anybody under 10 watching it.
Oh, that's interesting. I might actually watch it now that you said that, because I like things that are a bit dark and sinister. Not horror, but dark and sinister.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit sinister.
Yeah, I quite like the sounds of that. So what have I watched over Christmas? I've finished watching Jack Ryan. I finally finished watching Andor. Andor, for me, is the best Star Wars TV show I've seen.
You know what? For what it's worth, I need to watch it. And also, I know anybody, or whether it be a big media forum, or whether it be has said it's great.
Very enjoyable. To be fair, it took me 3 episodes to get into it, because I was like, where the fuck is this going? I don't understand what's going on here. But by the 4th one, literally the penny dropped after the end of the 4th one. I was like, oh, I know where this is going. I know what this is doing. But no, it's very interesting, and it has been commissioned for a season 2. So we'll have to watch this space.
But as you say, in all reports, it's great. So I need to watch it. I'm glad you was impressed with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but I did enjoy it. But it's more because it's about espionage rather than Star Wars.
But no, thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
And I guess we'll catch you in the next one.
Look after yourselves. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.